All right, welcome back to the Explainer. Today, we're going to tear down a really cool UI component, one that might just change how you think about building your app's front end. Let's jump in. Okay, so just for a second, picture your phone's home screen, with all the apps laid out. It seems simple, right? But trust me, for a developer, building that kind of smooth, swipeable interface from scratch, it's a huge pain. But what if it didn't have to be? So here's how we're going to break it down today. We'll start with the basics, talking about UI kits. Then we'll get to the main event, the B4X dashboard. We'll peek under the hood at its features, uncover the system's secret sauce, and then wrap it all up by talking about why this whole approach is such a game changer. All right, section 1, building with UI kits. Before we get into the specifics of the dashboard, we got to set the stage. Let's talk about why UI kits are pretty much the foundation of how apps get designed these days. The best way to think about a UI kit is like a big box of digital Legos. Seriously, instead of having to build every single button, every menu, every little piece of your app from the ground up, you get this whole library of pre-built parts. And the best part? They're all designed to fit together seamlessly. This means your app looks and feels consistent everywhere, which is exactly what the B4X Daisy UI Kit is all about. Okay, so with that foundation laid, let's bring out the star player of this UI kit. It's time to introduce the B4X dashboard. This is the component we're going to really dive deep into. So what is this thing exactly? Well, the easiest way to get it is to just pull out your phone and look at your home screen. See that grid of apps, the pages you can swipe through, those little dots at the bottom that show you what page you're on? That is basically the B4X dashboard, but all packaged up and ready to go. It's an incredible shortcut to getting that modern, polished launcher feel. All right, now for the fun part. Let's pop the hood and see what makes this thing tick. We're going to look at some of its most powerful features. Okay, so maybe the #1 headache for any UI developer is this. Screens come in all shapes and sizes, right? You've got tiny phones, huge tablets, and everything in between. So how does the B4X dashboard handle this massive challenge? How does it look good everywhere? The secret is this really clever system called Auto Grid. And what's cool is that it gives you two options. On the left, you see what happens when Auto Grid is turned on. The dashboard literally does all the work for you, figuring out how many rows and columns to show based on the screen size. But if you're a bit of a control freak and want to decide for yourself, you can just flip it off, like you see on the right, and set a fixed grid. You get the best of both worlds, automatic or manual. And here's a peek at the actual properties you'd use in the code. You've got that auto grid property, which is basically the on-off switch. Then you have MinCellWidth and MinCellHeight. That's where you tell the automatic system, hey, don't ever make my icon smaller than this. And finally, columns per page is what you use when you've turned auto grid off and want to do it manually. Super simple controls, but they give you a ton of power. So the grid system is awesome, but that's not all. Let's talk about two other features that you'd totally expect from a modern app launcher: automatic pagination and those little notification badges. Okay, the pagination is where things get almost magical. Check this out. As a developer, all you do is give the dashboard a bunch of buttons. That's it. From there, the component itself calculates how many buttons fit on a page, figures out how many pages it needs, builds the whole swipeable interface, and creates and updates those little indicator dots at the bottom. It's all done for you. No fuss. And of course, what's a launcher without notification badges? The dashboard has this built right in. You just call one function to add a badge. It automatically puts it in that perfect top right spot. And get this, it's smart. It actually resizes itself based on how many digits are in the notification. So a 9 is smaller than a 99 plus, which means it always looks clean. It just works. So we've seen that the dashboard component is a beast. It's super powerful. But it doesn't live in a vacuum, right? It's part of a whole UI kit. So how does it make sure it looks like it belongs with all the other components? Well, that brings us to the system's secret glue. And that really is the million-dollar question for any big UI library, isn't it? How do you make sure your buttons, your avatars, your dashboards, your chat windows, how do you get them all to follow the exact same design rules so they don't look like a mess? The answer lies in having one central place that calls all the shots. And here it is. The secret sauce is a module called B4X DaisyVariants. Now, this isn't something you can see on the screen. It's not a button or an icon. Think of it more like the rulebook or the design DNA for the entire UI kit. It's a chunk of code that handles everything: colors, sizes, shadows, you name it. It's the glue that holds the whole look and feel together. And this right here is the proof. Just look at the code snippets. We've got an avatar, a div, a stack, a chat component, 4 completely different things. But they are all calling the exact same functions from that B4X DaisyVariants module to figure out their styling. That is how you enforce consistency. It's baked right into the code.
And the quote on screen says it all. It's the single source of truth. But what does that really mean for a developer? Well, it means if you decide you want to change, say, the main color of your entire app, you don't have to go edit hundreds of files. You change it in one spot, inside B4XDaisyVariants, and boom, every single component across your whole app updates automatically. It's a huge deal for keeping things manageable.
Okay, let's zoom out one last time and put all these pieces together. We've seen a cool component and the glue that holds it together. So what's the big takeaway here? Why is this systems approach so powerful? Really, it boils down to these 4 things. First, consistency, because everything is singing from the same hymn sheet, that B4X DaisyVariants module. Second, efficiency. You're not reinventing the wheel. You're building with powerful, pre-made parts. Third, maintainability. Remember that one change updates everything trick? That's a lifesaver. And finally, you get this amazing blend of power and flexibility. You have complex features like AutoGrid, but they're still super simple to use. It's the whole package.
So after seeing how elegantly the B4X dashboard and B4X DaisyVariants work together, it kind of leaves you with a big question, doesn't it? As the apps we build get more and more complex, is this kind of centralized, component-based approach not just a good idea, but maybe the only way forward? That's definitely something worth thinking about.